2022, there was a lot of good movies, and
Mhm.
we're gonna start off by just kind of going through the ones that stick out the most to us. I think there's gonna be a lot of overlap, but that's because some of these movies were really good movies. So, Regina, I don't think you've ever had an opportunity to do best or favorite movies of the year. So, how about you start us off with what was your favorite movie of 2022?
Well, I'm gonna have to start off with one of my favorites, because it caught me off guard by how enjoyable it was. But I'm gonna go with The Green Ghost and The Masters of Stone, written, directed, and starring Charlie Clark of Charlie Clark Cars.
Orderly film.
Of all the car dealerships he owns. Also stars Danny Trejo. And if you haven't seen, if you know about Charlie Clark and his infectious commercials that go, Orale, and, you're missing out. But so Charlie Clark grew up in Texas, basically raised by a Hispanic woman. He calls his nana. Sadly, she recently passed away, but this movie is an ode to her, and it's actually very sweet. You can tell this is a person who loves his grandma, and he loves action movies, he loves kung fu, and this is just like a fun project for him. And you know what? It paid off. I think it's actually truly entertaining. It's a good story. It's fun to watch. I know that lots of the Alamo theaters had like premieres, and he would show up, and I think it really surprised a lot of people by like how delightful it truly was. And so I really liked it. So I think it's one of my top favorites of the year.
It was a lot of fun. Like, I don't know what the budget was for the movie, but I hope whatever it was that he made all of it back and then some, because that movie had no right to be even mildly entertaining. And yeah, it was really good.
Yeah, it was probably like the biggest surprise of the year. Easily the biggest surprise of
Yeah.
the year for
Yeah.
the quality of enjoyment that I got out of it. Yeah, it was a lot of fun, and I'm glad you picked it because it was definitely going to be on my list of mentions today. It was a lot of fun, and I mean, yeah, rest in peace, Nana.
And it's a movie that it sounds kind of ridiculous. And I mean, he's the writer, and I believe he's the director, he's the star. So he basically finds out he's a car dealer who finds out that he has a secret power that can save the world. And you're like, oh, vanity project. But no, well written story. I mean, for what it is, it's for the kids. It's straight and to the point. Like, but it is like one of the most entertaining movies that you watch. Everything is so deep, and even the Marvel movies sometimes you're kind of like, get over yourself, or get to the point already. Like this thing's already been going on for 2.5 hours. But like this, like it gets straight to the point, tells a story, kind of promises a sequel. So I mean, I am ready for more Green Ghost movies, and I absolutely
Orale.
Yeah, it had a lot of heart.
it did. Blake, what do you have for us?
So since I like Regina's tactic to kind of go to like some of the lesser things here. I'm gonna do that too. I'm gonna pick for my first one. Oh, there's so many to pick. Project Wolf Hunting.
Oh my gosh, from South Korea. What a crazy movie. That movie, you and I watched it. Actually, my mom walked in about halfway through it. She was like, "Oh, you're watching a Korean movie." And then like, I don't know, within 5 minutes she was like, "This is disgusting." Like, she just was not pleased with the movie whatsoever. After
Huh.
you and I watched it, Blake, like you and I would talk about it occasionally, and I kind of didn't hear about it. And then like in December, I don't know if it came out in theaters or what happened, but I just started hearing about it like everywhere. Like people talking about how crazy it was and weird and nuts and how fun it was. But yeah, a great pick. Like it will surprise. It sounds like Con Air at sea with a bunch of Koreans, and it
Right.
is.
It is, but it's so much more. It is so
Yeah.
much more. There's like, I mean, just to entice you to listener to watch it. It's got like a super corpse. There's like a super zombie in it, and there's like, it's one of the craziest things I've ever seen. I kind of approached my list tonight as like, what if I recommended just off the show to people in conversation? This is easily the one I've talked about the most since I saw it. It's one of the craziest things I've ever seen, and my brother watched it like on Christmas night and he was like, I don't really have words for this movie. And I was like, that's exactly what I was hoping your reaction would be. And yeah, it's so much, it's a lot of fun. It's incredibly gory and over the top, and I had a great time with it. Yeah.
It's like the perfect midnight movie. And I think we'll talk
Yeah.
about a couple of other things that are great for midnight showings. But the premise is South Korea's worst criminals are on a super tanker and they're being transported from the Philippines, I
The
think, or
Philippines,
Manila?
the
Yeah,
Philippines, I think.
they're being
Yeah.
transferred from the Philippines back to Seoul,
Yeah.
and obviously they're gonna escape. So, and then there's gonna be some action going on this tanker. So that's where you get your Con Air
Yeah.
aspect to it. But then there's this just incredibly insane twist. It only progresses and gets increasingly zany,
Yeah.
and
And then they
it's-
double down on said twist.
and it's one of those movies that, like, there's lots of parts of it that are funny. They're obviously not supposed to be funny, but it's
Yeah.
like really funny. But there's some parts that are just straight up gross.
Oh, literally, I think, and I'm not joking, I think virtually, other than like the very beginning, virtually every character that comes on screen dies. And horrifically.
Yeah. I don't think I don't think too many people come out of this looking good. Like, yeah, like the hero changes constantly, quote unquote hero.
Yeah.
The protagonist changes, as does the villain.
Right.
You really don't know
This
what's
movie
going
keeps you on your toes, man.
It absolutely does. Like, the whole Joe Bob's whole rule about like a real drive-in movie, like anybody could die at any moment. Absolutely the case in this movie, and you
Yeah.
never know who's going to do the killing, and you
No.
never know how it's going to get done. So it's like, it's just a wild movie that's a hell of a lot of fun.
Yep.
The one that I picked was one that all three of us enjoyed immensely up to a point. What Josiah Saw. I thought was just a fantastic movie, like just well written, great performances. Like, it's broken into 3 chapters. I loved the second, Eli and the Gypsies. Like, on its own would make a great movie. It's just a section of a longer movie here, and I thought this movie was fantastic up until we got the ending.
Eli's section alone put it on the list for me as well. Like, it's just so good. Like, the movie itself is good, but that section alone, I wanted to see more of that. Like, you're right, it could be its own movie. It was really interesting, like really attention grabbing. Like, if you weren't in the movie already, that really put you in.
Yeah, what Josiah Saw, man. So I have such a hard time getting behind this movie because of the end,
Yeah.
And
No,
no pun intended. But it was overall, it was beautifully shot. The acting was top notch, and as a standout memorable movie, well, definitely one of those for me, for sure.
Yeah, like before you get the final like stomach churning twist, like you get a twist before that involving what's going on with the family, and that's really well done. Like, it's just an excellent movie. Like, the ending will honestly, it'll end up turning a lot of people off to it. But what Josiah Saw, it is on Shudder, and it's a story basically about 3 siblings who have been estranged. They're kind of brought back together to take care of the family land, and then all these dark family secrets come up. So it does have an incredibly shocking ending, which you can make an argument I don't know. I don't think this is any that was just done for shock. It does play into the story.
Totally. No, I mean, it's not that it doesn't make sense to what you've just seen, even, like,
Yeah,
it is literally just what it is, that
It's just unpleasant.
it's
right.
just
Right.
yeah, it's if you're, I mean, if you want to see a good movie, like, it is an absolutely good movie. Like, definitely check it out. It's on Shudder. Just be prepared for that last half minute or so. Regina, what else do you got for
I have
us?
Satanic Hispanics. I really enjoyed Satanic Hispanics.
Oh, very,
So,
yes.
And all the segments, especially the Hammer of Zanzibar, which is super awesome way to end the movie. But leading up to it, you get all these really cool, interesting characters. Just a lot of cool visuals. It's great stories. I mean, lots of fun. And then I guess living on the border, I'm a little bit biased. Like, it all, it makes you like, oh, I love it, but like it's just a fun movie overall, And I like what Gigi Salgado does in her segment as well. But there are so many like fun segments, I think, in that whole anthology.
It's
Yeah, go ahead,
yeah.
Pat. Yeah,
I was gonna say, yeah, not only living on the border, but specifically El Paso.
Yeah.
That's really cool. A few weeks ago, we had an anthology that did everything wrong in the Red Book Ritual. This Satanic Hispanics is an anthology that pretty much does everything right. It's gross, it's funny, it's weird. It has a really cool wraparound. Like, yeah, just a really, really enjoyable film.
this is probably like the second or third most recommended movie, or like I've talked about this to people. Like, keep it on your radar. I have no idea where to watch it actually, or if it's available yet. But one of my favorite things of the year for sure. We're huge anthology fans here on the show, and like we've had a little bit of it all this year. We've had like some where it was like half good, somewhere was none of it was good, and this put it all together. Like you said, nice wraparound package, great acting, fun stories. Had it all. Yeah, it was great. Really love Satanic Hispanics.
It was, yeah, really, really good stuff. Blake, what do you got for us?
I'm gonna go with, man, it's funny, and once I started looking, I'm like, dude, there's like a lot of good movies on here. I'm gonna say Old Man. I
Nice.
really, really had a good time with Old Man. It was kind of unexpected, I guess, as far as what you were getting, especially from Lucky McKee. Not his typical kind of vibe, as he even said on himself, like it had men in it. It was like had a man as the main character.
Yeah.
But it was a unique and fun time, and it's a movie. It's one of the few movies on this list that I want to watch again. So I really liked it. I'm kind of bummed that it's kind of had this kind of like wishy-washy reception, but
Yeah.
I would like to recommend it here on this here show.
That's the most disappointing thing about the movie to me. It's one thing if you say like, yeah, oh, that's not one of the best movies of the year, but to just straight out say like, yeah, that's a bad movie.
Yeah,
I disagree with that. I mean, yeah, taste is subjective. I get it, but I mean, you got a great performance, an engaging story. It doesn't waste no wasted movie at all. There's a lot of single location movies nowadays, especially since indie film. It's cheaper to make movies now, but sets are expensive, so lots of single location movies. But if you get it done as well as this one did, and man, Stephen Lang, what a performance! Like
slang.
Just like an amazing performance. Like he was mesmerizing, like one of the most captivating performances of the year. Like I can't recommend this movie enough.
Oh yeah.
The dialogue is fantastic, and that's what really drives the movie, is the dialogue and the tension in this movie. It's just really good.
Oh, great tension, great dialogue. So I have a fairly dialogue, at least a movie that the dialogue is very important in it. So it's a movie that has one of the most, I would say the most unique protagonist of the year, Dash Cam, all capital letters.
Yes.
With Dash Cam taking place across the pond, not Dash Cam taking place in New York, which we also saw. This is a movie about this movie is about a woman who travels to London to go visit a friend, but to get away from all the COVID restrictions here in the United States. As it turns out, it really ain't that much better over there. And it's kind of a point of view, found footage movie, and she just gets caught in some supernatural antics. And I think Annie, not Potts.
Oh yeah.
Annie is
Yes.
like that lead character, and we've seen a lot of great characters this year. I didn't agree with a thing that she was so annoying and so aggravating and just kind of a piece of shit.
Annie Hardy, just to be clear. Yeah.
Annie Hardy, yeah. But my man, like I thought she was hilarious, and I just couldn't wait to see what she was gonna do next.
It's the movie that I love that we love, because if you look anything up about it, it's like 2 stars, 1 star, one of the worst movies I've seen all year. I hate Annie. I think we just get it. I think we just happen to get it and get what the movie is like. You're not supposed to like her. It's supposed to be irritating, and she
Right.
does exactly what she's supposed to, and it's hilarious. This movie has so much like, it's actually pretty witty when
Yeah.
it comes right down to it. It's not just like slapstick falling all over the place kind of comedy. It's got some good jump scares in it, even, I would
Yeah.
say. So yeah, this movie does a lot right. I'm glad you brought it up. It was on my list too.
I'm
She's
just
a
mad that she lives. That's my problem. I'm
Yeah.
like, you don't deserve to be alive. You're an idiot. And like, somehow she magically like lives. Like
that's
not,
one of
it's
the
not one of my
I
favorites. I can't get behind her, but I was having fun watching it till the outcome was not favorable.
I think that's one of the charms of the movie is
Yeah.
I've talked in the past about I'm not the biggest fan of Final Girls, but one thing that unlike any other Final, she's like super resourceful. She doesn't luck into things or anything. It's not like she succeeds based on just figuring shit out.
And basically just putting her head down and going forward as fast as she can.
Yeah, she just pushes forward. And Blake, you bring up a good point. People being like, "Oh, awful character. I hate the movie." The flip side of it is people being like, and I haven't seen anybody, but I'm sure there's people who are like, "Finally, a character that speaks to what I believe. I love this
Totally.
movie." No, it doesn't.
Yeah.
Like, it's a scary movie. Like Rob Savage, who also did Host,
Mhm.
like just an excellent movie, and it's supposed to kind of frustrate you. I mean, we were all frustrated because of lockdown, and this just kind of plays into everything. Like,
Right.
I think if you don't watch this, you're kind of doing yourself a disservice.
Totally. And it's got like a great modern found footage twist, like how they incorporate that into the movie, into making it make sense as to why it's being filmed and how she's filming it. I think really adds to it, and it makes it cool. And you know, it's very successful at what it sets out to do, for sure.
Absolutely, and Marvel, your end credit game is kind of you kind of lost a lot. Check this movie out. They'll
Gonna
show
bitch
you
slap
how,
you.
yeah, they'll teach you how to do a good end credit scene. Regina, what else do you have for us?
I decided to skip a little fast forward to the end of the year, and I'm going to go with a weird, the Al Yankovic story, just because it's so absurd and hilarious. And I've had a long day, and I'm going to watch it when we're done, just because it's become one of those movies for me already. And the content
That's such a great idea.
it's just become one of the movies I want to watch for laughs. The way I listen to Weird Al on the way home when it's been a long day. It's just great nonsense, great performances. Evelyn Rachel Wood kills it as Madonna. Daniel Radcliffe kills it as Weird Al. Great performances all around, just super fun.
Yeah, it's like amazing performances, like just a fantastic, the perfect opening for a Weird Al Yankovic biopic. Like, I loved this movie.
Oh yeah, I mean, there's nary a bigger Weird Al fan than this long-haired person who sits before you. I love Weird Al, and the fact that they just took it at the full satire route of just nothing is serious in it at all. They fabricate virtually everything. Daniel Radcliffe is just so invested in the role, and so is everybody else. Like Rainn Wilson's great in it. I mean, everybody's really good in it. And it's just a lot of fun. I had so much fun. I hope they somehow do a sequel. It would be so good. I can see that happening.
That would be awesome,
yeah,
man.
it was 1984 when he pissed off Ludacris with his cover of Ludacris? No,
Coolio.
Sorry guys, I'm getting all my rappers confused. Oh, sorry. It's not racism. I'm just
just disrespect for our dead.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Julio.
Yeah, Luda's still kicking.
Blake, what else do you got for us?
Man, there's some good ones still on this here list. I'm gonna go because I think I know where we're gonna kind of finish off here, and rightfully so. I'm gonna call it by its original title, 8 for Silver.
Yeah.
Oh man,
That's a cool name.
that is how it's listed on my list. That's how I wrote it. I didn't even think about it until I was like, oh yeah, they changed it to a stupid name.
The Cursed.
And Eight for Silver, great movie.
Awesome. I really like, oh, what's that actor's name? He's got he's really good. Holbrook or whatever his name is.
Yeah, Hal Holbrook.
Some
No,
some
yeah, I know
he's
you're
a-
talking about that.
yeah, he's great. A really imaginative and fun. I think that's important. We say that a lot on these movies that we like. It was a fun story, World War One stuff, werewolves, gypsy curses, but it took a new twist on it to where it really felt like witchcraft was involved for the first time in a long time. I thought it had like this really cool folklory witchcraft vibe to, we're used to like underworld werewolves and stuff, and this was so far away from that. I liked the imagination used in it, and I just really enjoyed it. I went to go see it in the theater. And I think it was immediately available on like Hulu or something, so
Yeah,
it's been readily available. I'm glad it has, because I think it's kind of gotten this kind of some semi cult following behind it now. So really cool movie.
yeah, great creature design, great
Great.
characters. It's a little bit of a throwback to like Universal monsters, but it has a modern twist on it, a little more grotesque. Yeah, it does things with the lore, like just a fantastic movie. And yeah, it seems like people are the generic title aside, it seems like people are finding it and enjoying it, which is great because it's a really good movie.
Oh yeah, it's like one of those perfect like put on in the background cable movies. Really is.
Yeah, and then
Really scary moments when you first start to get the
Mhm.
after the I guess the awakening.
Oh yeah, some great
Yeah.
scenes with in the fields, they like moving through the wheat like a shark. It's
Oh
there's
yeah,
some
good stuff.
really cool stuff during broad daylight, which I loved. So really cool stuff.
Yeah, and then like torture scenes with the gypsies, just like
Yeah, gross
some
stuff. Yeah.
gross stuff, like just but stuff that draws you into the story, just
Mhm.
really good stuff. So I'm gonna pick a movie that I'm thinking it's one that we all agreed on, but I don't know. So we saw this movie in New Orleans in a little movie theater, but it starts off with Rebecca Hall running. She's just jogging and jogging, and then you realize that what she's running from is her past. But Resurrection was, man, I absolutely loved Resurrection. Sounds kind of simple. It's about a woman who has a button down life. She has everything in control, down to the affair that she's having with a married man. Like she's just kind of doing it just because it seems like the thing that she's supposed to do. And then a person from her past comes back into her life and it throws everything askew. And that's when the movie really picks up. Like Tim Roth, and I personally think it's the best performance of his career. Like I'm surprised that we haven't heard more about it. Like I loved his performance in this movie, and it all culminates in this crazy grindhouse ending that totally unexpected.
Go ahead, Regina. Go ahead.
I was just gonna reiterate that. Yeah, Tim Roth is amazing in this movie.
Yeah.
Rebecca Hall, but it was just like it's just really grips you, the story, and then it's got such an insane ending. You kind of love it even more for the ending.
Yeah. So I didn't watch this. I don't know, on the show. I don't think Pat was like very insistent on like, hey, you need to check out Resurrection when you get a chance. And so I did, and this movie was crazy. I watched it twice because I felt like almost like I was missing something the first time. And then I kind of realized that it is like kind of what you said, Pat. I'm glad you put it that way. It's more of this kind of weird grindhousey, dark, just kind of like mind fuck that I thought it was like the first kind of watch. I was like, boy, I thought this was like really just trying to tell me something very specific, and it's really not. It's very abstract, and I can see how that could be off-putting for some people, but I really enjoyed it. It is so batshit crazy. Like,
Yes.
it is so crazy that it's like, it's kind of like the first time you watch like a Clockwork Orange or something. You're like, what the fuck did I even just see? Like, what? I had the same reaction with this. And yeah, Tim Roth, great performance. Really gripping. Like that, I would call that this is a gripping movie. It kind of like grabs a hold of you and doesn't let go. And then when it shakes you loose, you go like, what the fuck? What even was that? But yeah, memorable. Definitely have talked about it, recommended it all since I've seen it. So yeah, Resurrection's pretty crazy.
Yeah, this one's on Shutter for anyone who wants to check
Yeah.
out like a well-written story with great performances. It's just absolutely bonkers. Like this is like the movie for you. Regina, what else do you have for us?
I actually have, and I a Barbarian. I just want to.
Yeah,
I had to. I would be remiss if I didn't mention Barbarian for its
sure.
completely off the wall wackiness, and Justin Long just cracks me up so much in this movie.
Oh, so
And
good.
of course, the Skarsgård performance at the beginning is so wonderful. Like I want to see that guy in more. He should be in more rom-coms because
Yeah,
Yeah, no kidding.
charming and nice, and shows you how to put on a fucking duvet. the right way.
Great. He's a great guy who genuinely cared and wanted to help. Like, and I don't want to get too much into it, but yeah, Barbarian's a great movie filled with great performances and lots of risks. Lots of risks.
Oh, you took lots and lots of risks, and what a ride it is. One of my favorite. I'm gonna say this. This is probably my favorite movie of the year, just because of how the community kept it secret and kept it safe.
Yeah.
And like even right now, we're barely gonna talk about what happens in it. And so I love this movie. I would watch it over and over again. I really, really, really like Barbarian a whole lot. And I loved how the community kind of keeps it sacred and keeps it safe to the point where even right now we could easily spoil it and we don't want to. So
Yeah, and it's been a while because like nowadays with movies, even the slightest twist, people are and same with video games and television shows, people are just rushing to get out there and to tell you like, oh, so and so died, or so and so's the bad guy, or so whatever. Like, but this movie, I didn't hear anything about it at all in regards to, I mean, I heard like, oh, you got to check it out, oh, it's a crazy twist, oh, this will totally shock you. And I think the only reason it succeeded is, yeah, it's a great story, but this is kind of a throwback too. It was all word of mouth that got people to watch this movie. And much like Blake was saying, I'm really glad that people were able to keep it under their hat and get more people to watch it, because hopefully it'll lead to filmmakers being willing to do more movies like this that involve, shocking twists and things like that.
completely agree.
And Blake, what's your next pick?
Ooh, okay. I have some great ones to pick from here. Well, we're gonna talk about it at some point here. Deadstream, man. Deadstream. I mean, I'm surprised it took us this long. Deadstream was a delight. It's the most delightful horror movie I've seen in years, and I love the spirit of it. I loved the direction and how good the characters were, even though there's just like two of them. There's a great like ghoulie bites you in the ball scene. This movie was super fun, great practical effects. People who know how to make a horror movie made this movie, and I commend them for it.
Yeah, and people who love the genre, and people who obviously love Evil Dead, like the homages there are obvious, but just a really fantastic movie. When this is the first and only movie we've ever reviewed twice on this show, and for good reason. Like, it's just a fantastic movie. I'd say for most of the year, this probably was like my favorite thing that I had watched, maybe up until I saw Resurrection. Like, I love this movie. It's funny. I joked about how the lead character on it, that he's unbelievable because he's too charismatic and likable to be a YouTube influencer. Like, just excellent. And then Joseph and Vanessa Winters, like, they know, like you said, they know how to do horror. In VHS 99, they did by far the best segment in it. So I mean, I hope to see more from these two because they are excellent at what they do. And Deadstream, also on Shudder, is like the definition of a must-see movie.
Oh yeah.
And this is a movie that made me scream out loud. It was just like a really fun movie. I was that into it. I don't normally scream out loud at movies, but that's just how engrossed in the film I was. So super fun watch.
Yeah, I like the two kind of found footagey films that we watched this year that we all really liked. We're all kind of the same thing. It was like a live streamer
Yeah.
doing a thing, and they were both done really well. And yeah, VHS 99 gets an honorable mention on this list strictly because of their section. So for sure.
Yeah, and found footage, we've talked about it on here. It's kind of a guilty pleasure type thing, and it's been around for many, many, many decades. But it's good to see it evolve because it kind of got stale for a while. I mean, didn't stop me from watching them, but they got a little
Mhm.
stale. But it's good to see that they're embracing like these modern forms of point of view filmmaking, which is awesome. And Deadstream is front of the pack of that. So I think it's the final movie that I have here. And Shudder like kind of almost has a monopoly on horror movies, but art house horror is super super tricky. Regina mentioned she actually picked an art house horror movie for one of the worst things she saw, but I'm gonna go with A Wounded Fawn. Like I was really really surprised by that movie. When it started, I was like, it's by the writer and director of Jacob's Wife, and it literally starts in the art world, but that's not what makes it art house. Like it has like the look, the slow move, it deals with like the Greek furies. Like it's
Mhm.
a very deep story, which is a very simple plot. It's a serial killer who has his latest victim, takes it out to his cabin in the woods, and he's going to deal with her. And then from there it becomes a story about toxic masculinity and just madness. And I like Josh Rubin. I think he's awesome. I think this is kind of sound like a broken record because I say the same thing about Tim Roth, but I think this was Josh Rubin at his best, playing against type actually. But I thought he was really good in this.
This was a weird movie. Yeah,
Yeah.
right. This is a super weird movie. An incredible journey. Like it's not long, really at all, but it finds a way to give you a lot in that time. And yeah, it was on my list for sure. Definitely the most art house of the art house stuff that we watched this year.
Yeah, Josh Rubin's great in it, and it's super artsy, but I can see how like it might get it for me. Like it didn't get pretentious like the other like the what's it? Dawn Breaks Behind the Eyes movie. Was that
Oh
the one?
yeah.
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 Could you tell by the title?
Yeah.
Yeah, right. See, art house horror is so like I always mention the name Jean Roland on here. One because I like doing that stupid accent, but like I saw a documentary about his films, and I was like, oh, you know what? Maybe I'll watch a documentary, and I'll be maybe a little more appreciative of the stuff that he does. The documentary actually bored the hell out of me. So like art horror is so rough, and this one, it's kind of like, oh, this guy pretends to be work at auction houses, or he's actually a serial killer type thing. And it has acts actually, not chapter, they're acts. It has this ending that kind of over the credit scene just goes on and on and on. Like it really kind of shouldn't work, but at the end of the day, like I when it was over, I was like, man, that was like just a great horror movie. Like I really liked it.
Yeah.
Cool. And Regina, do you have anything else for us?
I would want to close out. What I don't know if it's not my choice to close out, but I think my final pick is X. That's my final pick. I really liked X. It spawned Pearl, which I recently saw, but I thought the performances in X were a lot of fun. Just a lot of strange things I wasn't expecting from that movie, from man-eating gators to old ladies just trying to get laid. I mean, it was a really fun movie. I really enjoyed X. It was just good stuff all around. Lots of gross things happening too. They're like, but I mean, just a fun movie to watch.
Yeah, I enjoyed X. I thought there's a great I like the setting of like 70s. Like there's something about like 70s like sweaty Texas that I like in movies.
Me
And this,
too.
yeah, it does it really well. And yeah, I would recommend X again to anybody. And what'd you think of Pearl? So is Pearl worth the watch?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, cool. That's good to know.
It's different, and I think you'll like it.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, like Ty West is one of those directors that people are kind of like they're not too hot on all the time because put so much effort in the story. Like House of the Devil, I think is a really good movie. That's a really good example of him like taking his time and telling a story. X is a little bit like that also, but it does have more of that slasher vibe too. But I thought X was really, really great. I think it showcases so Jenna Ortega, and rightfully so, is kind of like the scream queen of the moment right now. But Mia Goth is just X. I mean, she's in Suspiria, X, Pearl. She's going to be in Infinity Pool. Like she's and Pearl really shows off how great of an actress she is and how much she can do in genre films. But yeah, X is like you said, sweaty, gross, it's sexy and disgusting, it's horny. Like it's all that 70s exploitation stuff that's really, really fun and not it's kind of stuff that you wouldn't let like your little cousins watch, and your parents even now wouldn't let you watch.
Yeah.
Like just a hell of a lot of fun. Do you have anything else for us, Blake?
Yeah, this is kind of just like if I could, yeah, this is kind of like just wrapping it up. And this is more just because I really liked her performance. Winona Ryder in what was really coolly titled The Cow, now
Yeah.
called Gone in the Night. Lame.
Yeah.
But yeah, an interesting story. It wasn't like I wasn't in love with it, but I did like her performance and I thought it was a fun movie and a movie I would watch again, and given the right circumstance. And so that kind of is good. Just an honorable mention is Gone in the Night.
Yeah, that's a good one. I love the love story with her and
Yeah.
Dermot Mulroney. That was going that was really cute.
Yeah, there was some cool back and forth and yeah.
Yeah, it was a cool story. There was some good dialogue good in it. Like her young boyfriend who thought he was super cool,
Yeah.
and like I
He's
just
an idiot. Yeah.
he's totally like when she shot him down about his shirt, and
Yeah.
because he was all cool, but look at the shirt that I got. She's like, what was that, $100 online or something?
Yeah.
You're
It's like a
fucking
winger shirt or something.
yeah, that I loved it, and yeah, there was lots of good movies in 2022. Like we just named some of our, but there's so much out there. Like Blake said, like The Cow or Gone in the Night. Regina kind of mentioned Weird is just a comfort thing. Hazard is a movie that we watched, which
Yeah.
was a foreign film, which was just wacky and fun and crazy. And there's a lot of movies out there, and streaming makes it a lot easier to see these things. So definitely the movies that we've mentioned on this show, give them a try. After you've gone through that, listen to all our episodes from 2020. We have hours upon hours upon hours of content. If you need to put together a watch list or you want to avoid some movies, you can listen to us and we can give you some tips.